Hello, I'm Sarah Rubel. I am a Tableau solutions architect, and I'm going to talk to you today about Tableau Prep. The amount of applications in organization is continuously growing, and it's nearly impossible to let people ask every question possible across all applications. And therefore, we've been making it extremely easy for people to visually combine, clean, and augment their data for analysis. Tableau Prep makes preparation visual and direct, just like building a viz. And Prep has smart defaults, so users don't have to do repetitive tasks. And it's tightly integrated with Tableau, so users can quickly analyze data. I'm going to jump right into the demo and open up Tableau Prep so we can take a look at that. We're going to be covering four topics. Number one, how to connect to data in Prep Builder, how to combine, and integrate multiple data sets through joins and unions, how we can interact with and clean the data, then finally, how to share and refresh the data on Tableau Server. I'm going to role play, let's say I'm an analyst with an office supply store called Superstore, and recently we acquired another store called Supply Max. And so it's going to be kind of a demo generic data set, but it should show you the breadth of the functionality that you have under Tableau Prep. First thing we're going to do is to connect to our data set. And there's many options of what you can connect to. You can connect to published data sets on Tableau Server, to flat files, or to data stored in many of the most popular databases, and then also additional connectors that have been created by partners. Today, we're going to start out with a simple data set that's a CSV with my supply max data in it. So it adds the file to the flow pane up at the top here, and it suggests that I add a clean step to view and clean my data. So once I do that, summaries of my data are front and center in this profile pane in the middle. And under each profile or column of data is a chart. And these little visualizations are based off the number of rows for each value and help me identify trends. For example, under segment, we can see that most of our sales are coming from the consumer segment. And we usually sell between 2 and 4 units. And if I sort by the state, I can see that most of our orders are also coming from New York. So it's already helping me to understand my business, and you can find conclusions before you even start to analyze it. Under shipping costs, I can see what looks like an outlier. We've got a negative value there for shipping costs. And if I click on it, it displays the rows making up that outlier in that data grid below. And related values are also highlighted in blue across all the other profiles so that we can see that all of these rows are marked as same day and all have a null state. And what looks like an incorrect product ID. It doesn't look like any of the other product IDs. So we can exclude this value. So we don't want to include any of these. It looks like they're incorrect. And it'll automatically update without having to go into each profile individually and make those changes. There's also some mismatched fields in my ship mode. I've got first class, same day. And I can come in here and there's a helpful group values function where I can choose to manually group them, group by pronunciation, common characters, or spelling. In this case, I'm going to choose pronunciation and it'll bring those together. Now that we've cleaned up the data from that Supply Max store, we want to combine this data set with our Superstore data. I'm going to bring in another data set. It's also a CSV from my Superstore sales. And so I click that. And if you notice it's a different color, it's trying to color code each part of your flow so that you can quickly identify what is coming from different data sources. And in this case, I am going to union this data because if I look at my field names, I can see that they're the same. So I'm going to drag it up here and I have the choice to union join, and I'm going to choose to union that data together. Now there's a few fields that are mismatched. So if I check that box, I can see those fields that are mismatched. So we've got units sold and quantity. I know that those are the same thing. They're just different names. So I'm just going to drag the units sold on top of quantity. to add those together, to merge them. And then I know company, I want to analyze my supply max versus all of my regions. And so I'm also going to drag that on top. And this F18 is just a null column. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that altogether. So now this is all properly unioned. And now we have a master data set with transactions from all those different stores that we have. And now we're going to go ahead and group these together. So I'll just select all of those and group it together. And we can expand it as well, but just so that we can stay ahead of organizing the workflow for the future. We're still at the beginning of the workflow, but we can already imagine if you want to collapse some steps together, if you've got a complicated flow, you can even copy and paste those groups into different flows. So it makes it easier to organize those. Now we're going to bring in an Excel file called master product list as the last step in our flow to bring in data about all of our products that we're selling. So in this case, I'm not going to do a union. I'm going to join these in. So I'm going to bring this up and I'm going to say join. And once I have it joined, it gives me a nice visual of what that looks like. So we're doing an inner join, but if I wanted to do an outer join, I can click on that and see how those change. If I uncheck that, I can see below there's a summary of my join results and there's 10 fields that are excluded in that inner join. And if I click on that, I can easily see what those are. And it looks like the product ID has an irregular character at the end that we just need to change that out. So if I go back to my last step in the union, I can go into my product ID and we'll search for those 3 dashes. And I see my product ID and I just double clicked on it and I can erase those and press enter. And it'll make that change. And so now when I go into that join, I no longer have any excluded fields based on that join. So now that we've finished integrating that data together, and we have a couple of options, we can open this up inside of Tableau to check it out. So we can preview this inside of Tableau Desktop, or we can be finished and save this as a file by adding an output step. You'll notice there's other options that I can do, like if I want to aggregate or group by, pivot, add in a script or a prediction. But the most important thing here is that we're going to add an output step in order to get that final cleansed data set. I can save this as a file, a published data source onto the server, or save it back to another database or our CRM system as well. In this case, I want to save it as a published data source. And so I'm going to sign into my server. And this is my cloud environment. Once I'm done signing in, I just need to choose where to save it and give it a good name. Okay, so choose a project. We're going to send it to sales data, name it as output demo, and then we're going to run our flow. So we started out by combining those data sets together. We did a union and then joined in that master product list, chose an output, and now we are running this flow and it'll output onto my server. I can also publish this entire flow to my server so that other people can use it as well. opened up on my other screen, but it has successfully published. And now I can schedule that to run based on time or an event as well.